Greetings to you all. Welcome to grade 8 tutor. In today's video, we are going to look at how to use calculator to calculate for mean, standard deviation, variance, sample standard deviation, and sample variance. Okay, so there's the question given. We have been given the class limits and the frequency. And so this column is designed for the midpoint, which is being represented by x. Okay, so we have to calculate the values of x before we'll be able to calculate what mean, standard deviation, or any of these. And you ask yourself, how do you even calculate for the values of x? First, we say it is the lower class limit plus its corresponding upper class limit. Then you divide the results by 2. That will be the answer for the midpoint. Okay, so let's start. The first one, we are saying 2 plus 14. The answer, then we divide it by 2. That would be 8, right? So the first midpoint, we have 8. So we move to the second one. That is 15 plus 27. The answer that you get, that is 42. You divide the 42 by 2. That is 21, right? Then you add the 21 to it. And so this is how you are going to do it. You have to add the next one to, then you divide it by 2. Or after getting the first 2, you can find for the difference. So what's the difference between 8 and 21? Let's look on the calculator. 21 minus 8 is 13, right? So it means the difference between it is 13. So we can add 13 to the subsequent numbers to get to get to our last class. So the number here is 21. Let's add 13 to the 21 and see what we get. 21 plus 13 will give us 34. So we have 34 here, right? Then we add 13 to the result again to get 47. And we add 13 again to get 60. And we add 13 again to get 73. And we add 13 again to get 86. Or better still, you can confirm. Let's just confirm the last one, which is 80 plus 92. Then you divide it by 2. That is 86. So we see we have the 86 here. Yes, so it means after getting the first 2, you can find for the difference, then you add the difference to the subsequent numbers, right? So when you get to this point, you are done. So now that you are about to start with your calculations and everything, so watch the steps very carefully. On the calculator, you press on mode or the setup, right? So in this calculator, statistics is option 6. So when you come here, when you come here, do you see statistics option 6? You can press on 6 or you press on equal to here. It will select, right? And so we need option 1, that is 1 hyphen variable. So you press on 1. Here you have the x column, right? We need the frequency column as well. These are the x values. We need the column for frequency. So in this case, you don't have the frequency. It means you have to turn on the frequency. And you ask yourself, how do you even turn on the frequency? Now you press on shift mode, right? You press the down arrow here. You see we have statistics option 3. So you press on 3. Now they are asking us to on or off it. So the first one is on. Now you see the frequencies here. So let's input the values. Let's start with the x first. So the x is it starts with 8. So you press on 8. Then you press on equal to. The next number is 21. You press on equal to. The next number is 34. You press on equal to. 47. equal to 60 equal to 73 equal to, then you press on 86, you press on equal to. Right, so we are done with the values of x. We move to what? The frequency. And so you see, this is where the frequency is, this is where the cursor is. So we have to shift this cursor to the frequency side by pressing on this. So now check very carefully. The cursor is on what? The 8th row, right? So you have to move the cursor up to the first row. Sorry. So this is the first row. Now the first row, what's the frequency? That is 13. So in 13 you press on equal to. Then the next one is what? 9 equal to 11 equal to, we have 4 equal to, then we have 6 equal to, we have 7 equal to, then the last one is what? 10 equal to. So you see, we are done with what? The x values and the frequency, right? So here we press on AC to store the data, right? And so if you want to get all the necessary informations for your calculations, the mean, standard deviation, variance, sample, standard deviation, sample variance, or everything, what you do is you see this key here, the option key. So you press on option, and now you see the option 2 says what? 1 hyphen variable. What we selected, it's earlier, right? So you select option 2. So if you check carefully, the first one is what? X bar, which is the mean. So it's 43.1. So our X bar is 43.1. Our X bar is 43.1. That is the mean. And then if you check carefully, you see where we have the population. This symbol represents population, and x is the standard deviation. So population, standard deviation, right? But the square here is telling you it is what? Anytime you square standard deviation, it becomes what? Variance. So this thing is what? Variance, right? And this thing here is standard deviation. So you check very carefully. The one with the square is what? Variance, and the one without the square is standard deviation. So the answer for the variance is what? Let's write standard deviation first. That is 28.2, right? So 28.2. Then the variance, what's the answer? That is 795.99. The variance is 7. This is the variance, 795.99. So 795.99, right? And so we need the sample standard deviation. So if you check, we don't have, there's the sample variance, because anytime you see the square, it becomes variance. So there's the sample variance. So the sample variance is what? 809. Sample variance is 809.48. Right? Then let's look out for them. Sample standard deviation. So we need more options. So you press on this key, the down key. And so do you see sample standard deviation here? 28.45. 0.45, right? So on this calculator you still have many options. The n here is what? The total frequency, which is 60. So you can see here sigma f is what? 60, right? And so you have what? The median, you have the third quartile, you have the first quartile, right? Then you have the minimum value. If you still press down, you have what? The maximum value, right? So on this note, we are done with how to use the calculator to calculate for mean, standard deviation, variance, sample standard deviation, and sample variance. Alright, this is grade 8 tutor. Kindly subscribe and like our video. Let me know your problems at the comment section so that I will just help you if there is any problem. Okay, thank you and have a wonderful day.